Foundation. My name is Hezron Makundi, a faculty member at the Institute of Development Studies at the University of Dar, the host for this event today. Without wasting time, I acknowledge the presence of participants physical here in the room at the New Council Chamber of the University of Dar, but also online from different parts of the world, in Korea, but also within Tanzania. We acknowledge also the presence of participants from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation of the United Republic of Tanzania and the Korean Embassy in Dar es Salaam here in Tanzania. So to begin our session, I would like to invite the Director of the Institute of Development Studies here at the University of Dar es Salaam, Dr. Coleman Soka, to provide his introductory remark, but also to invite our special guest, who will also give the opening remarks for the session. Welcome, Dr. Soka.
Thank you, Dr. Makundi. Good morning. Allow me to, for those of you who read the Bible, allow myself to serve as John the Baptist. My duty here is to clear the way for the official remarks from the University of Dar es Salaam in this important event. And therefore, I will only provide the background information that allows us to understand who is here. First of all, the acting DVC academic. Before you, in person and online, scholars and diplomats who are ready to discuss about the forthcoming Korea-Africa Summit, which will be held in South Korea. And the government of Korea is preparing this event, an important event. It's a development event, and the people from the Institute of Development Studies thought this is an important event to discuss, to look at how are we going to the event. We have online ambassadors, ambassador of Tanzania in Korea, and Korean ambassador in Tanzania. But also we have officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have scholars from the following institutions: University of Dar es Salaam, UDOM, University of Mzumbe, SUA, Arusha Institute of Accountancy, Luse, Muse, Ardi University. They are also all online. We have scholars from the University of Helsinki in Helsinki. They are also online. Vascular, they are also invited. In total, so far online, we have 50 participants, and they are ready to participate and engage in this. Besides those, we have representatives from the Korean institutions, KOICA, EDF, and COFI, but also we have representatives from Tanzania Private Foundation, who are also preparing to participate in the June event in Korea. The aim of this gathering is to discuss the way forward as we prepare for the conference in June. You know, our leaders, this is a summit event, so our leaders are preparing to go to attend this event, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is preparing the Tanzanian team which will attend the gathering. So our deliberations and discussions are very important because they inform the perspective that we take as we go to SEL. With those few remarks, allow me to invite you to officially give the opening remarks of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor Opo.
Thank you, Dr. Coleman Soka, for your introductory remarks. The Ambassador of Korea to Tanzania, His Excellency Kim Song-pyo, the Ambassador of Tanzania to Korea, His Excellency Togolani Mavura, heads of Korean institutions who are online, all officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tanzania who are also online, the Director of IDS, Coordinator Korean Studies here at the University of Dar es Salaam, panelists, both abroad and who are online, participants sitting in the room and those who are online, representatives of institutions in Europe, representative of Tanzanian institutions, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. I was trying to brush up on a little Korean, so I will try to say hello in Korean. I think it's 안녕하세요. Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to be among you today and to be able to deliver the opening remarks of this particular important meeting as you count down to the Korea African Summit in 2024. The diplomatic relations between Tanzania and the Republic of Korea have flourished for over 3 decades, marked by the establishing of the Korean Embassy in Dar es Salaam in 1992. Beyond these diplomatic ties, the Republic of Korea has been a significant development partner of Tanzania in various areas, including human resources and capacity building, exemplified by training programs and infrastructure development initiatives. Notably, numerous academic and non-academic staff members from UDSM have received training in Korea, and we would like to thank the government of Korea for this particular gesture. The government of Korea is organizing the Korea-Africa Summit this year, as we all know, and that's why we are all collectively here in this room. This is a summit of its own kind, and we all welcome it. The summit is not only a diplomatic gathering, but also a development discussion forum, and thus it is of interest to many of us. There are many people who have interest with the gathering for very different reasons. We have traders, investors, academicians, researchers, journalists, you can name as many as you can. This means that we need actually to prepare very well for these different interests to be met. We here in Tanzania, and especially the academics in particular, wish to know more about the summit, how we should prepare for it, and also what should we expect will occur at that particular summit. If we know everything very well, that means we prepare ourselves very well. For example, what would the agenda be for the academics and researchers, and how should we prepare for that? Someone has to tell us about the summit and allow us to ask questions for clarification, and I totally agree with this, because us online have these questions, and if we're able to have clarity, that means it's going to be a very, very successful summit in the future. So for this, I would like to thank the team at the Institute of Development Studies here at the University of Dar es Salaam for arranging this particular meeting, and also for the embassies for supporting the event. I also want to thank our 2 ambassadors who are online for having to agree to speak to us today, and this also gives me comfort that we will have the details that would allow Tanzania to prepare fully for the summit. And as I noted, today's event focuses on the countdown to the CAS 2024, holds particular significance, given the long-standing ties between the Republic of Korea, Tanzania, and Africa. And looking at the list of panelists and their institutions, I'm very sure that we'll have lots of details for our preparation. Let me call upon the organizers to come up with a small report of this particular event so that we can refer to it and share as we prepare for CAS 2024. So without further ado, and with these very short remarks, allow me to request the moderator now to invite our speakers to deliver their remarks or details of the summit, and for others to contribute. With this, I announce that we've fully opened our meeting, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Professor Rose Upor, Acting Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic for the University of Dar es Salaam, for the opening remarks, which also notes that our event is now officially opened. Thank you for your time. We might still wish to have you just for a photo for those who are here physically on the room. Maybe we can do that quickly before we have now the remarks from the Ambassador Kim Sun-pyo. Is that acceptable? Quickly? Yeah, just in the front, and then if you can join there, and then we have a picture. Quickly, those who are online, please bear with us, and then if you can join behind the front table, maybe IDS staff quickly, and then we have a photo, and we can continue with the program with those who are online. Can we do that quickly, please? Thank you very much.
I'm glad I'm moving great color.
Just a few students, maybe 5. We also have one more photo, please, quickly. Volunteer quickly. Thank you very much. Now that one is more gender balanced. So so one more. Thank you very much. One more photo. Thank you. And apologies for those who are online. We are finishing this one. And I think after the photo, we can let the special guests also be free whether to stay or continue with other important duties for the university. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just have a round of applause to our special guest, Professor Rosie Paul. So now, continuing with our session, I would like now to welcome His Excellency Ambassador Kim Sun-pyo, the Korean Ambassador to the United Republic of Tanzania, to provide his remarks as part of the countdown to the Korea-Africa Summit 2024. You're warmly welcome, Honorable Ambassador. Technical, please.
Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, nice to meet you today. I truly appreciate everyone's interest in the upcoming.
I think you need to unmute your microphone so that we can hear you, please.
We can
hear you now, Your Excellency. Please.
Oh, can you hear Ambassador?
Yeah. Yes, very well now.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, please continue. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Ladies and gentlemen, nice to meet you today. I truly appreciate everyone's interest in the upcoming inaugural Korea-African Summit that will take place in June in Seoul. I also thank Ambassador Togolani Mabura and our colleagues in Tanzania Foreign Ministry Desk, along with our Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for their effort to make this summit a historic occasion for our bilateral relations. To give you a brief background of the summit, and this summit is expected to be the largest international gathering under the current Korean administration, under President Yoon Suk-yeol administration. And it reflects Korea's strong commitment to fostering a mutually beneficial and strategic partnership with Africa. At the same time, these efforts align with South Korea's vision of becoming a global pivotal state in the international community, contributing to freedom, peace, and prosperity of the global community. Throughout the summit, leaders of South Korea and African countries will engage in discussion centered on our areas of cooperation and pathway for future collaboration. Also, the business community will have a series of opportunities to connect with their relevant counterparts and go on to discuss on investment opportunities. As Ambassador of Korea, I am very much looking forward to welcoming Tanzania delegation, including Mama Samia, the President of Tanzania, and the government official and businessmen from Tanzania to Korea. It is very much noteworthy that this summit comes at an exciting time in our bilateral relations. South Korea and Tanzania are forging stronger ties in development, economic cooperation, and trade and investment. For example, South Korean companies are expanding their partnership in Tanzania to unlock its development potential. For example, the Standard Gauge Railway project, that is kind of the high-speed train project, Korea's ultra-modern electric locomotive and passenger big coaches are successfully already running on their trial journeys in Tanzania now. Also, for example, in Zanzibar, the big Korean company is building dams and irrigation facilities for farmers to enhance their productivity in agriculture. Also, recently, Korea's KUPIA, that is called Custom Unified International Agency, launched its office in Dar es Salaam to develop custom electronic management system for Tanzania. Also, in the field of development cooperation, both countries are closely working together for realizing Tanzania's Vision 2025 and are ready to cooperate further for future Vision 2050. Korea's ODA organization, such as Economic Development Cooperation Fund, EDSM, Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, and Korea Foundation for International Healthcare, KOFI, are partnering with Tanzania in the areas including agriculture, health, infrastructure, administration support, education support, and vocational training. Building on such partnership, the upcoming Korean-African Summit will drive Korea and Tanzania toward even closer cooperation. Acknowledging our shared vision and capitalizing on our respective strengths, we will be able to unlock great opportunity for shared prosperity. First of all, South Korea has expertise in development and advanced technology, coupled with its unwavering commitment to ODA development of our other countries. And these qualities position South Korea to catalyze Tanzania's economic growth and sustainable development. At the same time, Tanzania had its unique position as a leader in East Africa, abundant with human capital, natural resources, such as critical mineral, nickel, and or graphite, or gas field, something like this. Also, it has increasing young population in Tanzania with rising income level and working discipline. And Tanzania is actively pursuing its development agenda. And during the Korean-African Summit, Korea looking forward to forging stronger partnership in terms of addressing global challenges and promoting mutual growth. These partnerships can include strengthening global mineral supply chain, expanding blue economy, expanding our trade and investment volume on beneficial level, and enhancing food security in Africa, just name a few. Also, needless to say, I firmly believe that the upcoming summit will be an opportunity to celebrate our long-term friendship for generations to come by boosting people-to-people exchange, cultural and academic exchange as well. Soon after Tanzanian delegation visit to Korea, I expect to see more success stories promote connecting our two people in terms of business relations, academic education, as well as tourism in Tanzania. The colleagues of our two capitals, as well as our respective embassies, are working very hard to translate our potential into concrete initiatives that will make mutual benefit for our two countries. I firmly believe that this upcoming Tanzanian delegation visit, including Mama Samia, will signal the future where Tanzania-Korea cooperation is heading to. And I really rely on all the friends gathered here today from various sectors of Tanzania to become the strong advocate, supporter, driving force for bilateral, mutually beneficial relations. I look forward to hear everyone's valuable thought and support and expectation toward this summit. Thank you very much for your cooperation and preparation for this seminar. Thank you very much.
Commitment to the summit, but not only the summit, which is just a brief event during the middle of the year, but also the continued cooperation which you are heading the Korean government to support development process here in Tanzania, bilateral diplomatic cooperation between Tanzania and the Republic of Korea. We appreciate the remarks. Please stay with us. We will still have the dialogue and the discussion with the other people who are planning to have their discussion in the panel, but also other people who are participating if they have some questions also. We appreciate, and now we go to the next person to give remarks, and this is our own, His Excellency Ambassador Togolani Magura, who is the Tanzanian ambassador to the Republic of Korea. Mheshimiwa Balozi, good evening to you and welcome. We are expected to hear from you also about the plans for the coming Korea Summit, but also the general overview of our bilateral relation with the Republic of Korea. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Your Excellency Ambassador Kim Sang-pyo, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Tanzania, DVC, Dr. Msoka from IDS, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon here in Seoul and good morning in Dar es Salaam. So following the remarks made by my colleague, Ambassador Kim, it's my pleasure to join him to celebrate today. This meeting could not have taken at a better time than today. Just to recall, it was on this day, 32 years ago, on the 30th April, when Tanzania and Korea signed a diplomatic relations agreement. So today we are marking exactly 32 years of our relations. Our relations, we could say, have been 32 years stronger. That means one generation stronger. Our diplomatic relations have been very good, and it can be reflected in so many ways, including a number of offices that Korea has in Tanzania. In these 32 years, we've been able to host Korea Exim Bank Office, KOICA, KOFI, KISA, Korea's Internet Security Agency, and KOTRA. Also, Tanzania opened embassy here in Seoul on 2018. And I'm proud and happy to be the second ambassador to this great republic. And this embassy actually in Seoul is covering only one country, that is Republic of Korea, showing the gravity and importance we attach to this country. So I'm here not accredited to any other country than Republic of Korea. I sleep and wake up only to work on the relations between Republic of Korea and Tanzania. Many of my ambassadors, of my colleagues, are working in more than one country. So you can imagine the strength and gravity of the relations that we have. The strength of our relation is actually equally reflected in the development cooperation, as my colleague has mentioned, especially in the area of the development cooperation. Tanzania is in Africa, is the second largest recipient of the soft loans under the Economic Development and Cooperation Forum, EDCF, and number one in terms of the ODA provided by KOICA, Korea International Cooperation Agency. These ODAs in many ways have helped us in our government to fill the gap and assist us in meeting our development needs and infrastructural demands. And this include among many the Surrender Bridge that we have in Dar es Salaam, the Tanzanite Bridge, which itself has cut around 40 minutes delay for anybody go to town or the other way around. And that is very crucial because the studies showed Dar es Salaam is losing $2 million US per day because of traffic, economic loss. So that bridge has that significance to our country. But also, it was through these Korean loans when we managed to bridge to link the last region, Kigoma, to the grid by building a transition lines. But we have the Malagarasi Bridge and many other projects, including Mloganzila Hospital. And now on the pipeline, we have another two to come, which is the Bagamoyo Fishing Port and the Binguni Hospital, same as Mloganzila 600 bed hospital, the rehabilitation of Muhimbili actually to add, and also Meeting and International Convention Center in Zanzibar, MICE. So these are the pipelines using the same soft loans. So you can imagine injection of infrastructure and technology from Korea that are coming into these projects. Trade, however, is not very reflective of the strength of our relations so far. We are doing little trade amounting to 400 million US dollars. And even that one is an increase. But that is not enough compared to the size and capacity of the Korean economy. Korea is the 12th largest economy in the world, 5th largest exporter, 8th largest importer. So you can imagine the potential that exists. But the good news is that the trade imbalance is not only, the small size of trade is not only about Tanzania. The overall Korea trade with Africa is 1%. And it is for that reason, as well mentioned by my colleague, Ambassador Kim, the Korea government has thought that it's about time to rewrite the relations with Africa and put Africa at the center stage, including expanding trade with Africa in line with their Indo-Pacific strategy of the government of Korea. And that to us is a very good news. We have welcomed this news with a lot of enthusiasm, and we look forward to cooperate with Korea going forward. But to mitigate the trade imbalance that we have, some measures are already going on, and we are hoping that in the near future, they will open up opportunity for more trade between our two countries. Allow me to mention 5 of them. One, our two governments are now engaging into conversation on possibility of signing economic partnership agreement between Korea and Tanzania. Tanzania will join other 2 countries, Morocco and Kenya, and become the first 3 countries in Africa that Korea is going to sign economic partnership agreement with. It is our expectation the economic partnership agreement will give a leeway for trade and investment to take place between our 2 countries. So that will be one of the very major revolutionary steps that is taken in our relations. The second one, already our 2 countries are engaging into negotiation on establishing, having a DTA, double taxation agreement, and bilateral investment treaty to be able to facilitate trade and investment. So far, we don't have these instruments between our 2 countries, and that is the reason also why it has been a little bit challenging to attract our private sectors to engage much into doing business and doing investment. Third one, it's about engaging Korean companies. Efforts are ongoing. I've been meeting on my side here, so many companies that are interested, have drawn interest to engage into Tanzanian market. Some of them have started in a small way. We have a Mirai company, Mirai Green Company, Tanrock, which is already investing in Kuranga, into cashew nut shell processing liquid oil. And then we have a company called Tridge, which is already buying cashew nut from Tanzania. And then recently we're expecting to have a delegation from the Korea Import Association, KOIMA. That is on the way. Actually, immediately after this meeting, I'm going to a KOIMA event and a discussion about their next trip to Tanzania. But again, we will continue working closely between TanTrade, Kotra agency, which is in Tanzania, TIC and ZIPA, to see how to try to, as much as possible, to create opportunities for our people to meet. I understand that we're expecting Korean companies to attend Sabasaba this year, and also we are planning the same such a farm trip for bringing Korean companies, Tanzania companies to Korea sometimes in October this year. And lastly, I was in Dar es Salaam last week, and I engaged CRDB Bank and NMB Bank, and they have all shown interest to find the counterpart banks in Korea, because we need some sort of financial MOU, existing understanding between our banks, our local banks and Korean banks, to be able to facilitate trade and investment. So those are the initiatives that are going on. But going forward, as my colleague Ambassador Kim has said, there are so many rooms for us to cooperate. And we're already showing interest of doing that. First of all, recently we procure the wagons, the locomotives, and the electrical multiple units for the standard railway that were built. I think we've already seen the test has been done before. but there's new areas of interest, which is energy transition, that Korea is in high demand, switch to meet its commitment to the Paris Agreement. So there's a lot of opportunity to work with Korea in the area of critical minerals, and particularly nickel, graphite, and lithium, that we already started negotiation into this area. And then another area is the blue economy, which Korea is very much advanced. It's about the 5th maritime power in the world. And we think Korea can be a very good partner in our EEZ, Exclusive Economic Zone, especially deep fishing, that we have not yet explored very much. And just to remind you, last year in June, we had a very good opportunity to have to host Korea Africa Fisheries Forum for the first time. Another area is on the energy again, natural gas. And the last one among many, last two ones among many, one is labor exchange. This is another area that we are still starting discussion with our colleagues in Korea. But the other one is people to people. How can we encourage more tourism and entertainment industry and cultural exchange between our people? Because eventually people to people is what will sustain our relations going forward. So regarding the summit, this, as my colleague said, this will be the first summit in the history of Korea and the history of Africa. So that comes with a lot of promise of a new beginning of Korea-Africa engagement in terms of trade and investment. But also we see this as a foundation for the future relations between our two countries. And as rightly said, it is our high expectation that Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan will visit Korea this time in June to attend the summit and the business forum alongside the summit, and meeting many other potential partners that we have. And we believe that the summit will send a very important signal to the private sector in Korea about the readiness of our country, Tanzania, and readiness of Africa. Because the challenge that I find it on the ground is there's a lot of readiness from the government side, but business and investment is moved by the private sector. So the private sector in Korea demand or needs to see readiness from the continent, commitment from the continent, and the commitment from their government about the safety and guarantee of the investment. And we think this summit is going to put a right tone for that. And after that, we're expecting to see influx of Korean companies and Korea people to Africa. With many words that I've already said, I thank you once again for this opportunity. And I thank you for showing interest to organize this event today, to shed light on what is coming on the summit and the potential that exists. I thank you so much. Kamsamida.
Ambassador Magura, for the remarks. It's very clear from your remarks that, first of all, being young but highly experienced diplomats, you are really on top of coordinating the diplomatic relation, economic partnership between our two countries. Very much congratulations to you for doing the job. I remember one time seeing you also promoting the partnership in the film industry, because the Korean film industry is doing very well, and I think there's a lot to learn for the Bongo movie as well. Kindly also stay with us. We know that you are prepared to host the president and the delegation, but also the business community to be also in Seoul in June, and we appreciate that. So now we will continue the discussion also with other prepared discussants, panelists, but also those who are also participating, including over now 97 participants who are online, can get the opportunity to also ask questions and contribute to this discussion. So it is a countdown to the Korea-Africa Summit 2024, ladies and gentlemen, and we have heard remarks from the two ambassadors from the two sides, talking about what is going on in terms of the bilateral cooperation between our country, Tanzania and Korea, and the expectations for the forthcoming summit, but also the cooperation between the two sides. So now we will hear from those who are also working in this particular area. As you will see in our program, we have panelists from COICA, but also from the Asian desk at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in the United Republic of Tanzania. We will hear from the Private Sector Foundation and other panel. So can we start with the COICA representative for a few minutes? Maybe they can shed some light on what's going on with their initiative here in Tanzania and the expectations for the POSTI or towards the summit itself. Then what should we expect and what are the plans? Welcome the representative from COICA, please.
Sure, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we can hear you very well. And we have like 5 to 7 minutes for you. Thank you. If you can keep that for everybody to get some moment to discuss also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll try my best. Your Excellency Song-Kyu Kim, Korean Ambassador to the United Republic of Tanzania. Your Excellency Togolagi Mabura, Tanzanian Ambassador to the Republic of Korea. And the representative of the University of Dar es Salaam, Institute of the Development Studies, colleagues and friends of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the representative of the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, dear colleagues from the Korean Embassy in Dar es Salaam, IDS, Kofi, and all participants who are connected with us. Good morning, habari jasui, assalamu alaikum, and shikamoni. And good afternoon, of course, for you, Ambassador. Allow me to start by conveying our belated congratulatory message on the 60th Union Day anniversary of the United Republic of Tanzania last week. And my name is Jian Sang, and as a Deputy Country Director of the COICA Tanzania office, I am honored to be able to represent our agency and our office today. And thank you for the kind invitation to this special forum. Recently, I've watched a very interesting interview with the Dr. Jim Yong Kim, who is a former president of the World Bank, served from 2012 to 2019. And let me quote the part which I found most interesting and share with you. In 1959, the year in which Dr. Kim Yong was born, the World Bank decided that Korea, south of the 38th parallel, was too poor to get a World Bank loan, that Korea was too rural and the education level was too low. There was no industry because all the industry was in the north. So Korea was ineligible for the loan, World Bank loan, until 1963. And the conclusion was COICA is going, and the bank's conclusion by then was Korea is going to need the grant aid for a very long time. And the idea of getting a loan and then being able to pay it back, the World Bank by then thought was very beyond Korea. How did Korea pull itself out of the extreme poverty after the Korean War and the World War II? There are many thinkings and theories from the development economist perspective. However, I want to share one thing for our discussion today. Investment in education and health would eventually lead to economic growth of the country. As a matter of fact, it is well known that Korea received the second World Bank loan for the education program, while the bank and other countries were insisting that Korea had to use the loan for infrastructure. But we all know that education was the key to the Korea's fast development. Based on the irony that the World Bank has witnessed from the case of Korea, COICA was established in 1991. Dear participants, from now on, I want to introduce our agency, COICA, how we started, what we do, where we work, and what we want to achieve and how. Korea International Cooperation Agency, COICA, is the representative and the primary development cooperation agency, delivering more than 60% of the grant aid program of the government under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs And we aim to realize global values through cooperation and global solidarity by sharing Korea's unique development experience, which can be exemplified by our journey from aid recipient to donor and advanced capacities with the partner countries. COICA delivers various development programs through diversified modalities, such as bilateral projects with the partner governments, multilateral cooperation with the UN agencies, civil society partnership program with the Korean NGOs, fellowship program, which includes short-term and long-term master's and PhD programs, development innovation programs with the Korean private sector, and the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. And last but not least, our World Friends Korea volunteer program. In terms of the budget scale, bilateral projects and the WFK programs are our main programs. And the main objective of KOICA's program are to promote achievement of SDGs through response to a global humanitarian crisis and peace building, and to foster development cooperation partnership by diversifying cooperation, and last, to enhance sustainability of the development cooperation ecosystem, both in Korea and in partner countries. Tanzania has been and still is KOICA's priority country in Africa, and now it is the second largest partner in the region. Since 1991 to 2023, KOICA supported $204 million. And now what is worth noting is that our annual budget to Tanzania in 2013 was only $7.3 million, and it has grown to $26.5 million USD in this year. And now, all our areas of focus are education, health, and rural development, which includes the blue economy. This year, we're implementing 9 bilateral projects, 11 civil society programs, 10 development innovation program with the Korean private sector, 1 multilateral program, 4 short-term training courses, and 28 long-term master's and PhD programs. And we also plan to receive about 30 Korean volunteers and advisors. We are expecting to launch 4 more bilateral programs next year, respectively in education, health, water supply, and transportation sectors. And the last one is about the development of the master plan of the expressways in Tanzania, and with a total budget of $51 million. You'd notice a significant growth in the size of each program and some more areas of cooperation from these new programs. I am sorry, but can you unmute? Also, our new programs were designed to invite Korean private sectors to Tanzania. Ladies and gentlemen, health and education sectors are the core of KOICA Tanzania's portfolio. As per health, KOICA is a long-standing partner of the Health Basket Fund of the Tanzanian government, and we have contributed $16 million USD since 2016. And what is meaningful is that 80% of the support was dedicated to strengthening primary health care facilities for the provision of quality health service from the base level. And currently, we are also focusing on digitization of the 180 health facilities in Dodoma region. We may also find the donor blood bank in Dodoma that was constructed based on the partnership with UNICEF. Together with the two new water supply projects to be launched consecutively in Dodoma and Pwani this year and next year, our vision is provision of better and accessible healthcare services and investment in human resources. And in terms of education, we have different portfolio in mainland and Zanzibar. Based on the National 5-Year Development Plan of Tanzania, KOICA is supporting skills development through both formal and non-formal education projects and the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics projects. Based on the partnership with GIZ, the German government, KOICA has successfully trained 4,300 youth with welding, plumbing, and mechatronics in Dodoma, Manyara, Lindi, and Dar es Salaam. Among the trained youth, 630 were also enrolled for the extended entrepreneurship program, and as a result, around 78 micro industries were created in the regions. From the next year, KOICA will be constructing a polytechnic college in Morogoro with the total budget of around 20 million USD, providing more than 7 different skills programs and continue to nurture Tanzanian youth with advanced quality skills demanded by the Tanzanian industry. In addition to this, KOICA is working with the Ministry of Education and Science Technology and the PRH to start the rollout of the IPOSA, which is the ministry's non-formal education program, at 38 centers of the 6 regions of the country, and also to kick off the STEM project in Dodoma and Simiyu region. And in Zanzibar, KOICA has been working very closely with the Ministry of Education, Vocational Training to enhance the secondary education, particularly with the related curriculum pedagogy of the science, math, and the English subjects through 1 bilateral project and 2 Korean civil society partnership programs. We have trained large number of teachers and education officers, including nearly 1,400 SME subject teachers, and have been operating the Education Media Center, also known as the Kwarara Media Education Center, KMEC, and provided better and safe learning environment for the girls. We believe that the improved education will also bring better opportunities for the blue economy in Zanzibar. Dear distinguished guests, the Korea-Africa Summit 2024 will be playing a pivotal role in terms of scaling up KOICA's projects and programs, advancing from the past programs and expanding cooperation partnerships. And this is why strategic partnership and the strategic participation of the Tanzanian government matters. First, Korea's ODA budget was increased by 43.2% in this year, and in comparison to that of 43.2% this year in comparison to the debt of last year. And considering the tough budget session last year, increase in this amount is a powerful statement of and the commitment of our government to ODA. And out of the total ODA budget, 27% is earmarked for the programs and projects in Africa. It is also very noticeable that Africa region took the largest portion of KOICA's budget this year for the very first time. And the Korea-Africa Summit is taking place at an impeccable timing when there is growing attention to the ODA in Africa from both the Korean government and the Korean public. There will be a continued and collective efforts and commitments to design and implement more programs as a result of the discussion at the summit. Second, the summit will provide opportunities to apply new strategic thinkings in terms of project design, how to advance by doing things differently. One of the areas that Korean government is interested, also KOICA is very interested in, is to support the Tanzanian youth capacity in terms of digital transition of the country through capacity building of African youth, Tanzanian youth, in fostering and Africa's digitization and digital. The projects can be designed by building on from the past projects and bringing new ideas based on the partnerships. Can be added or highlighted to the upcoming skills development programs we design.
Do we still have her? Oh, there's a technical issue. I think the image is frozen, the audio is not coming. Are we still having her? Hello? Okay. We are the one who are right.
No, I see the internet. Internet is weak. Internet.
Okay. Are you still there? Can you wind up? I think the time is also not very friendly. Maybe you can take some minutes to conclude, please.
Sure. I only need less than a minute. I'm about to finish. Thank you. Lastly, since the summit is inviting heads of the nations from the 54 African countries and heads of the 4 international institutions based in Africa, it is going to create a big platform like no other for the Korean government, KOICA, and for other Korean agencies, including more than 40 government institutions implementing ODA programs, and participating country governments and private sectors and many other. Your Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by sharing gratitude with the University of Dar es Salaam for the kind invitation and the recognition of the KOICA's work in Tanzania. And also, I would like to express our gratitude to Your Excellency Ambassador Togolani Mabura for your tireless support for KOICA's projects and programs. Your presence in our home country means so much to us. And last but not least, I would like to conclude by thanking Your Excellency Ambassador Sompyo Kim and the Embassy in Dar es Salaam for supervising and overseeing KOICA's partnership program with the EDC and COFI for the betterment of ODA. I hope the Korea-Africa Summit 2024 will bring more prosperous and long-standing partnerships between the two countries. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. I think it was very insightful. Some of the participants here in the room, we have more than 45 people in this room, and some of us are our students. I saw them taking some notes on what's going on in terms of the Korea Development Cooperation with Tanzania, in particular through the KOICA program. I've visited some of the health centers. For example, the Sinza Health Center is actually even known as the KOICA Sinza Health Center in Palestine. So I think your support in different sectors, including healthcare, education, and other sectors is really very much visible, and we appreciate that. So now we move to the next panelist, and this is a representative from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Asian desk at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the United Republic of Tanzania. So I'm not so sure who is representing them. If they are not there, then we will move to the next person. Do we have someone from MOFA here? Okay, so if they will be there, then we will hear from them, but we move straight to the representation of the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. I think they also committed to participate in this. So if we have someone from TPSF, please. Mondi or anyone representing TPSF, if you are there online, kindly just unmute and have some.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, Doctor, thank you so much for the invitation, and Excellencies, Ambassadors. My name is Godfrey Mondi. Hope you can see me and hear me.
Yes. Yes, please, Karibu.
Asante sana. As I said, my name is Godfrey Mondi. I'm a senior policy analyst, trade, investment, and economic diplomat at the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. Yes, I look after trade-related matter, foreign trade, foreign investment, and economic diplomacy component, especially having the private sector eyes in our engagement as a country. Excellencies, we appreciate the invitation, and as TPSF will participate effectively in the Korea Africa Summit. We are expecting to have a delegation of over 35 private sector that are coordinated by TPSF will participate in the summit. Apart from that, on top of that, we're also expecting to have a Tanzania Korea side event alongside the Korea Africa Summit. But before I go into so much the details, but I would like to predicate our statement on behalf of the CEO that we with reference back in 1980, one of the Korean company, the Wool, entered a strategic partnership with one of the Bangladesh garment manufacturing firm, Daesh Garment, to manufacture apparel and leather products. That by that time, Bangladesh GDP was somewhere around $18 billion, and that firm Daesh Garment was valued at somewhere around $5 million US dollars. 10 years later, the firm is over $10 billion, has been able to extend or support the growth of over 400 garment manufacturing companies directly from the Daesh government. From less than 100 Daesh apparel companies in Korea, in Bangladesh, it moved to somewhere around more than 4,000 ready-made garments manufacturing companies by 2020. It was just out of a strategic partnership between one country, that's Bangladesh, and another country, that's Korea. So the technology from Korea, experts from Korea, but also the experience of the Korean firm and Korean government in international trade and investment supported a small country that 50% of its land is below seawater to move into a middle-income country. And currently, the RMG industry accounts for more than 50% or 40% of the total export of the Bangladesh economy. Then why we decided to cite this example in this occasion? This is our expectation as a private sector. When we are talking about the Korea-Africa Summit, we are looking at established sustainable partnerships that will unlock some of these economic sectors that are in Tanzania. The RMG in Tanzania still contributes significantly to the GDP. I think it's the third largest exporting industry, and it's the second out of the non-traditional sectors, that's gold and traditional crops. So RMG becomes the third and the first in terms of value-added sectors. So we expect that the summit will enable our businesses and private sector to establish such kind of network. And also, as His Excellency Ambassador Golan mentioned, they are now working to establish strategic partnership between our local banks, and we'll be happy to be part of such kind of the conversations, as we understand that access to a corresponding bank, it's one of the bottlenecks to asset financing when it comes to trade. So as TPSF, we will gladly participate, and we are mobilizing the 35 private sector businesses that will attend the summit. Further to that, we look forward to, again, to have an impactful side event between the Korean firms and the Tanzanian firm. It's upon the best interest of TPSF, and we look forward again to support from a counterpart in the embassies to ensure that we have the right participations and from these sectors, especially in the digital economy and the RMG. Furthermore, there's an interest again to unlock the coastal tourism. We understand tourism in Korea plays a significant role, and it's an evolving sector. The private sector in Tanzania is very much looking forward to learn and explore avenues of collaborations and partnerships. We're able to unlock the 1,400 kilometer long coastline that's available in Tanzania. Look at this at the beach tourism, looking at another sea-related tourism. Dear guests, I think from the private sector, from TPSF, it's one of the rare summits that we are looking forward to participate effectively and ensure that we're able to strengthen our partnership between Tanzania and Korea. Otherwise, allow me to stop here, and I look forward for any other comment and reactions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mondi, representing the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, a senior expert analyst. And I think this for the benefit of members of the audience from this room who are students. Mondi is our alumni, so I think you should act as a role model for you and an inspiration for you for also to play such a similar role in the industry when you graduate from IDS. Now I would like to welcome the Economic Development and Cooperation Fund, EDCF, also to give us some insights on the expectations for the Korea-Africa Summit 2024, building on what they are also doing already here in Tanzania as part of the bilateral cooperation. We know that some of the highlights of your work has been said by the two ambassadors, but maybe you have some more to add on there. Representative from EDCF, kindly welcome.
Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me loud and clear?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Godfrey Mundy. Thank you for sharing your invaluable role of private sector in investment. That was really impressive. And thank you, His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Kim Sun-pyo, and His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Togolani Mafra. And thank you, Deputy Vice Chancellor. My name is Shim Sang-cho, and I'm Deputy Chief Representative working at Dar es Salaam at EDCF office. So it's a great pleasure and honor to be here and have the opportunity to present what EDCF has done so far and where we are heading to in close cooperation with our respected partners in Tanzania to prepare upcoming Korea-African Summit in June. So let me begin with a brief introduction of EDCF, what EDCF does for those of us who are not familiar with EDCF. So EDCF is a specialized institution that provides concessional loans in soft terms to support development projects in partner countries. We aim to promote economic cooperation and enhance sustainable development by financing projects in various sectors. Throughout EDCF, partner countries can access financial resources to implement vital projects that contribute to their socio-economic progress and strengthen our both countries' bilateral relationships. So moving on, let me briefly introduce our office located in Dar es Salaam. So established in 2014 with a mission to provide EDCF operations in East and South Africa region. So far, we have made approximately 40 commitments totaling over $2 billion so far, which encompasses various sectors such as energy and infrastructure, education, transport, public health, and water supply and sanitation. Our joint effort with Tanzanian government has been strong so far, and it will remain strong in the future. So let me briefly introduce several EDCF projects to all. Feasibility studies, which are currently on the track, such as Muhimbili Hospital Redevelopment Project and establishment of Digital Technology Institutes in Dodoma. Also, we are always proud to present the successful completion of constructing Tanzanite Bridge, a new cylinder bridge, which is a major landmark project, even among the whole EDCF project worldwide. Besides from these accomplishments, numerous projects are currently underway, namely development of wastewater treatment system in both Dar es Salaam and Dodoma, and constructing substations in the Kigoma region, improvement of national land data infrastructure, and construction of Zanzibar irrigation, etc. From our EDCF's portfolio, Tanzania is taking a leading role and has of paramount importance in Africa, thanks to its solid economic structure and high growth rate and stable governance system. Currently, we EDCF are closely cooperating with Tanzanian ministries, line ministries, and PEAs to find new project opportunities, excavating projects in various sectors. We would like to take Korea-Africa Summit scheduled in June 2024 as an opportunity, and we are very, very much confident that this occasion will open a new chapter in both countries' economic cooperation, progressively increasing financial support with our ultimate and concerted goal to achieve both economic growth and social development of both countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the discussion is reinforcing itself. One of the things which are popping up from the discussion is the balance across sectors, but also the engagement of different actors, including the civil society, which is very unique with the Korean development assistance, but also the growth of the development assistance. So we as Tanzania are privileged to host the office of EDCF, which is serving the region, not just the country. And I think that is a privilege for us, being also the second largest recipient of ODA from Korea within the region in Africa. So we thank you very much for your remarks. Please stay with us. So now we'll hear from a representative from the Korea organization, I think, for international health, Kofi, and I know that this is more specialized in the health sector, and I think we can get more deeper insights on the health related development cooperation. You are warmly welcome, as a representative from Kofi. Kofi, can you kindly unmute your mic?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there was freezing due to internet, internet connection problem. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing this time. First of all, I'm very honored to be able to participate in the Countdown to Korea African Summit 2024 forum in commemoration of the first Korea African Summit 2024. Especially, I really appreciate to His Excellency Dr. Sunpyo Kim, the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to the United Republic of Tanzania, and His Excellency Togolani Mavura, the Ambassador of the United Republic of Tanzania to the Republic of Korea, and Professor Bonaventura, Lutingwa, and etc. So as the government of Korea strives to contribute to the global community and fulfill its responsibilities as a pivotal global state, I believe that the significance of this forum goes beyond the relationship between Korea and Tanzania and can disseminate a meaningful message to the East African region and Africa as a whole. Adding on invaluable opinions from KOICA, MOFA of the government of Tanzania, and Korean Exim Bank, in particular, in order to resonate its voices with meaningful messages from KOFI, which is in charge of one axis of global health cooperation on assessment on the bilateral cooperation in health sectors between the two countries, is prerequisite conditions to maximize its impact, lessons learned, and way forward. Based on this, I believe it is necessary to critically evaluate what was done well and then what is lacking, and carefully consider ways to increase exchange and cooperation between the two countries in the future. According to the World Health Organization's definition, the right to health is a universal human right beyond the various socio-demographic variables such as ethnicity, religion, social class, level of education, and etc. Access to quality of health is an essential human right. In addition, health population is the cornerstone for the economic development of a region or one country as a starting point of well-being. I believe there is no doubt that the quality of health is a major pillar of achieving all the sectors mentioned by the previous panels in order to achieve health as a universal human right, as a basic physical strength for economic development. KOFI has implemented small but meaningful activities in Tanzania over the past years, particularly to improve the maternal and child health care, which was a major health burden over the last years, and to strengthen the capacity of human resources for health sector. We have been promoting various activities, including MNCH project, focusing on primary health care strengthening in Pwani and Dodoma regions. At the same time, we have been carrying out the Dr. Lee Jong Fellowship Program, which is an invitational training program to strengthen human resources for health in Tanzania since 2009. In addition, the Muhimbili National Hospital, Ununganjila Campus Operational Consulting Project, which was established by the two countries' cooperation via EDCF, has been successfully conducted since its opening in 2017 to improve the quality of medical services provision, bed utilization, and medical equipment utilization, and hospital management, and etc. As a result, the hospital is improving its brand power and especially its capability as a super specialized hospital and solidifying its status, thereby striving for the health of the community and people of Tanzania. Representatively, the hospital did 7 cases of kidney transplantations in a row last year successfully, and it has been resonated by presentation at the international conference in Ethiopia. Overall, such kinds of actions have technically contributed to enhance people's health in Tanzania. At the same time, we knew that many limitations, for example, in the case of Muhimbili Hospital Consulting Project, there is no doubt that there are clear evident achievement in improving hospital operations and management. At the same time, it is recognized that many improvements are needed to ensure that the hospital's role, status, and contributions are apparent from the perspective of health systems in Tanzania. In particular, the referral system in line with secondary and primary health facilities. So all those kind of things we knew that. So if so, we cannot help but think about what strategies and directions should take as a spearhead of global health cooperation in the future Korea and Tanzania relationship. Major health sector issues in Tanzania can be largely explained in 2 ways. First, this is about the Universal Health Insurance Act, which was the backbone of the UHC Universal Health Coverage passed in December 2023. The existing health insurance system in Tanzania has been operated under the sort of the dual systems such as National Health Insurance Fund and Improved Community Health Funds. And despite weak health financing, the system was divided, so effective financial management was infeasible and there were significant limitations in actual functioning as a health insurance overall. In fact, the Ministry of Health warned of NHIF depletion in an interview with the media at the end of 2022. In this situation, the enactment of passage of the UHS bill promoted with strong will by politicians, especially the President Mama Samia, became a touchstone for achieving universal health coverage in Tanzania. In addition, it is a significant identity that Tanzania sets a meaningful precedent as a member of international community in terms of achieving major health issues in the global society. The second thing is the institutionalization of community health workers into the health systems. Although community health workers are non-medical personnel, they are at the frontline workers of community health and are first healthcare service that the local resident can encounter. In particular, the role of community health workers in resource-limited setting is important in terms of providing stable health services. This approach promoted by the Ministry of Health and President's Office, Regional Administration, and local government, and other health authorities with a strong will is significant in strengthening the responsibility of the people for their health at the front line of the health field. Overall, practically, it provides basic disease treatment, through various technical strategies such as integrated community case management and etc. And community mobilization. So it will be an opportunity to strengthen its utility and systematic niches. Therefore, cooperation between Korea and Tanzania in the health sector should be aligned with such framework. Above all, from the viewpoint of strengthening the sense of accountability and ownership of partner countries, cooperation between the two countries should be considered the quality and quantity increase in project implementation. In conclusion, patterns of disease in Tanzania is in transition as a result of economic growth. In fact, it can be seen that the burden of disease has been changed from infectious disease to the non-communicable diseases. Amid this transition, cooperation in the health sector should be carried out in a way that is not limited to conventional way of working, but rather than includes innovative ways, especially in a way that both countries can take the mutual interest in which we can promote health equity and strengthen Tanzania's health system. To this end, it can be seen that the importance of cooperation at the macro level is
See some connection challenge.
Project that will beyond simply sector-specific expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much from Kofi. And I think we will now go to the academic panelists from here at the University of Dar. Dr. Robert Supiani is the coordinator for the Korean Studies Center here at the University of Dar. Karim.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hezron. And also, thank you very much, members, for attending this very important occasion. As I was introduced, my name is Robert Sufiani, co-coordinator of Korean Studies Center, the University of Salaam. I'm also one of the beneficiaries of the Korean programs in terms of education. And I did my doctoral studies in Korea. I lived there for 6 years. So I know the country very much. And I would like to contribute to some of the areas that maybe have left aside when the all presenters were trying to present or trying to see Korea in various angles. And these areas, to me, I think they are very, very important. And perhaps when His Ambassador Mavula is going to speak again, maybe can also help to say something in that. I was looking at the cooperation in the air transportation, and it has been a lot of the sea. I know like Victoria cooperation is very nice with Korea, but I was looking at the air transportation connecting these two countries. I think can also be a very good agenda. And with reference to some of the countries we are trading with them very good or very much, actually we are also connected to them very easily. For a long time, I think Mr. Monde can check the data, but for a long time, Tanzania has been doing good in terms of trade with the Arab Emirates. And you know, there is a constant connection with the flying rates and also around the Qatar Airways, but also South Africa. You can recall for a long time, we used to have South African Airways. And then with China, a lot of Tanzanians are doing business with China because of the easier connection it exists between Tanzania and China. So I would suggest for the Ambassador Mavura and also to check the possibility to revive the connection to be constant, at least between these two countries. Many Tanzanians they wish to go, but it's not easy due to the connection. So Korean Air can also be a good chance to cooperate with the Air Tanzania in some instances for Tanzanians to connect easily to this country. And another area, this is congratulations, of course, thanks very much for the Korean government. The University of Dar es Salaam currently more than 15, I think, or close to 20 PhDs born from South Korea. And it's a very good and constant initiative which is continuing going on. And I think now we can link it with the research and development. I think in that area that is missing, that okay, people have gone to study, but we need to have something like a research base or research focus in terms of different areas of development. Like IDS, they are doing some issues in development, so we have to connect in terms of research and development. I know a lot of institutions in South Korea that they can support in one way or the other research and development in Tanzania. Of course, the Korean Studies Center has started, and currently we are doing comparative business studies as to what happened to Korea. We were in the same pace in 1970s, and what are we doing now? But it's not enough. We need to cooperate, I think, with universities, with private organizations. So I think this is also another area for the ambassador or for the two countries to look at it, so that we can have a good cooperation also in research and development. And another area which I think was missed out, speaking of, there are many people who want to mingle with Korea, even the private sector guys, as Mondi has said, but the labor environment in Korea might be a bit difficult. I know thanks to Ambassador Mavula has tried, and several times we have received some calls and letters to make sure that we prepare young Tanzanians to work in Korea, make sure they attain or they get all the weapons to go and work in Korea, and teach them language, yeah? Get them ready to work in Korea. But still, I think the labor market in Korea need to be friendly and also need to be very cooperative to Tanzanians. And I think the initiatives by His Excellency Ambassador Mavura and the ministry at the end might be good. So we have to pull up our socks and make sure that we have a better environment for people to work in Korea if at all they want to connect. And the very last, because of the time, I want to end at 25, because of time. The very last area is the tourism area. Yeah, of course, as I said earlier, that one is also connected to the transportation. When people, they calculate the cost of here and there going to Korea and coming back to Tanzania or whatever, it's a bit expensive. But again, it's an area, Koreans, I know they like Tanzania very much. They like Ngorongoro, Serengeti, everywhere in Zanzibar. So I think you have to have a good environment for our destinations in Tanzania, but also the easy movement of people who are coming and going back to Korea. I know the visa-free is not easy at the moment, but also it is possible to be facilitated by the two countries, so that who those wants to go to Korea within 90 days, maybe they can enjoy visa-free and vice versa. I submit moderator for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sufiani, for insightful additions to what has emerged or evolved out of the discussion we've had so far. I see a hand from Dr. Soka, so maybe I can allow you, and then I also have some few to add as well. Karim.
Many thanks. I want to thank the ambassadors and heads of the Korean institutions for speaking into this particular important gathering. And you know, as the title says, this comes down to the summit. My interest is really to hear more, and then from all of us, the contributors, but also the main speakers, of how much should we prepare as we plan to go into this. And I think it is very important because it's the first unique summit that Korea is hosting this year. And therefore, we need to really prepare. And I would like to hear more in the areas of education, for example, which is our domain. And how should we prepare into this as we go? Because I think the head of COICA did say that early they were denied the World Bank loan because of the poverty. But over the years, they've been able to, climb the steps, and they are now 12th global power house in terms of economy. And so it will be very interesting to us to understand how to be prepared to go and learn from the experience of Korea. It's going to be at a convention center based, or also we're going to experience hands-on visits to see the experience of rural Korea, how they organize the rural sector, how they. That would be useful to us because we are a rural economy so far. And so the ability to be able to see how they organize the rural sector, how they organize, for example, the people's institutions, cooperatives, and how they were able to develop the rural industrial sector, etc. And that will give us, eyes to see Korea differently and learn and bring home the experience that we will use for our own development. Because we really want to move out really fast, like the way Korea did. Dr. Shufiani just said that they want to encourage us in terms of academic cooperations, research. We'll have to see more Koreans teaching in Tanzania. Tanzania is going to universities in Korea and teach, vocational education institutions, tertiary institutions, teaching, researching jointly so that we're able. Now, it will be interesting to hear how the CAS, the Korea Africa Summit, is preparing the various sectors of Tanzania to be able to participate and learn from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Msoka. Just to build on what you have just been saying, there's a very famous World Bank graph. Whenever an eminent economist from World Bank do a presentation in the development platforms for Africa, they would normally have a chart showing Ghana and Korea in the 60s and Ghana and Korea in the early 2000s. And you could see the divergence between the two countries. And there is where they say there was a miracle that happened in Korea. And everyone in Africa is eager to learn about that miracle and maybe to follow the same path that Korea followed. Yes, of course, Korea is a role model for Africa because they have transitioned in the development platform in a very rapid way. And eventually, now it's one of the recently industrialized economies, while it was a developing economies in the 60s and the 70s, just like many African countries were. And so having platforms like CAS is very critical for Africa to keep on learning from Korea in terms of what they have done to get where they have got. I understand that there is a lot of different perspectives that might not be relevant for Africa in terms of the development process because, of course, Southeast Asia is different from Africa, the environment there in Korea, the relation between Korea and some Western countries which were somehow preferential could have led to a different trajectory, which might not be the same case for Africa. But indeed, there's a lot for Africa to learn from Korea. And in this case, the emphasis which has been put down by the previous speakers, including Dr. Sufian, in terms of academic exchange, Ambassador Mavure in terms of people to people, the cultural exchange. I know there's a Korean Studies Center here. I'm not so sure how strong it is, how many people are learning Korean language here in Tanzania, and how many visitors from Korea are coming. So the exchange of people to people should also involve the volunteers, which have been mentioned, but also the delegation of visits among the African scientists, scholars. I know the scholarship. Yes, of course, 2 or 3 people in this room have benefited the Korean scholarship. Dr. Patrick is here. I saw Professor Debjan, I think he's out of the room, but these are among. There should be more, but maybe more people also flowing from that side to this side, including volunteers, so that there will be more and more interaction and exchange. One also important feature of the Korean Development Partnership, which is unique from the rest of the emerging Asian countries, is also its unique way of engaging in development cooperation. So in my own perspective as a scholar in the development cooperation field, I think Korea is more mature in terms of the donor economy, arising from the Busan 2011, where they talk about the development efficiency rather than aid efficiency. Korea is engaging its civil society and non-state actors in the development process. You have an NGO in Korea. It's very unlikely to have other East Asian countries to engage NGOs or civil society in their own development assistance program. They even have contribution to basket funds. This is not something you see with, again, I don't want to mention or to name countries, but with other South Asian countries also, they don't do that. They don't provide government money to the government directly to support some specific sectors like the health basket fund. And I think this is something worth learning from. Of course, the Korean aid to Tanzania might not be like the largest among the aid sources for the country, but as you could see, Tanzania is among the major recipients of Korean aid within Africa, and that tells the importance of Tanzania to Korea. At the same time, the growth rate of the Korean aid, you could see a 43% rise. Of course, within the 2 decades, the average is around 29, and I think that is very large, and I think there's also a lot to learn from. But also the non-aggressive, there's not so much tied aid when you talk about the Korean aid. They don't demand for something, then they provide you development assistance, and I think this is also unique. Many donor countries or donor agencies normally ask for something when they give you aid, and I think this is worth applauding also. To me also, I think there's a need to improve the engagement of the Korean private sector, because there is where we'll have more private sector engagement will lead to technology transfer, mutual aid, and things like that. And I think the emphasis for that should also be also emphasized. And I could say for CAS, I think we need, as the private sector, prepare to have 35 companies going for sale CAS 2024. I think we should also have academic people also participating in the conference, not only diplomats, government officials, and private sector, but also members of the academia. And as you know, in this discussion, we have participants from UDOM, Zumbe, Sokoine, and other collaborators in the field of development. And I think they would wish to hear more from the government, from the two governments, if there's any space for also the academia to participate in the CAS. With those few remarks, I open up for the discussion from online participants who would like to either contribute or ask questions, and those who are in the room. So by preference, maybe I would wish to invite those who are online to start, and then we can also have discussion from those who are in the room as part of the discussion. And they can even have a question directly addressed to one of the panelists or the ambassador or the panelists from this organization, or just general remarks or discussion. You're warmly welcome. Vedasto, you can alert me if there's someone who has raised their hands online there. Thank you. Anyone online wish to contribute? Okay, so as we wait, we have Rashidi. Rashidi, kindly welcome, and say your name, your affiliation, and then straight to your point of discussion.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, very well.
Yeah, my name is Ali Rashid. I am the PhD scholar from the International University, and I am the chairperson of Association of Tanzanians in the Republic of Korea. I could see my brother, Dr. Sofian, there, who is doing a very great job of organizing the Korean Study Center. And I have heard some of the presenters, including ambassadors and other people from different organizations. So what I want to say or to contribute today is I want to say that Korea is a country of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities here, business opportunities, funding opportunities, technology opportunities, and everything. So we as Tanzanians living in Korea are trying to closely work with our embassy to connect or to utilize these readily available opportunities. And currently we are trying to see of a way to utilize the funding opportunities by connecting the partners from Tanzania and funding agencies here in Korea. And one of the areas that we are currently working on is to connect between the International University and the University of Dar es Salaam to have a cooperation so that we can explore and utilize all the opportunities, particularly in the areas of technology and, and the industrial engagement. So this is the area that we have been working with the embassy, and we hope that maybe in the near future, we might sign the MOU so that we can start to operationalize this plan. And another thing that I want to say is that I heard from the person, from the deputy director of KOICA, that KOICA, Korean government through KOICA is trying to bring more funding opportunities to Tanzania, but we have a problem here that we should ask ourselves, are we ready enough to utilize these funding opportunities? We as government officers, as scholars, as youth that these people are trying to help us, are we ready enough to utilize the opportunities? If not, we need to join our hands to improve and build our capacities so that we can explore and see these opportunities and act on them by grabbing them and utilizing them effectively. So I would like to suggest the Korean Study Center, KOICA, and our embassy in Korea to organize more seminars and engagement meetings so that we can discuss how best we can utilize these funding opportunities. Because if you want to get a fund, you need to understand how to write a proposal. And in our schools, we have been taught on how to develop this kind of project concept paper documents, and we can share some of our information and insight for our youth officers and scholars to utilize the opportunities that are readily available here in Korea. And lastly, I would like to say that you are warmly welcome to come to Korea for the summit. And we, as part of the embassy, will host you very well, try to show you all the opportunities and find a way to utilize them effectively for the sustainable development of our country and by bilateral cooperation of our two beautiful countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the updates, insights, but also a positive representation of our country where you are there, Mr. Rashid. We really appreciate. Anyone else online who wish to contribute? But now I will also open up for those who are in the room. I already see Finance ready to say something. Yeah, you can turn on the mic and introduce yourself and then go to the point.
Thank you. My name is Salaam from IDS, and I have like some thought of contribution, and which is I think the most important thing that Tanzania could learn from South Korea is the kind of education they're providing to their kids and to the university levels. Like, we create job seekers as a product of the graduates. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of youth are waiting for employment. While when we look at them, they mostly create entrepreneurs. Like, after the students graduate from the university, they don't just wait to get the job. They just wait for employment and the other things. So we need to learn what kind of education is really going there that makes the product of the university to be creative, to be entrepreneurs, instead of being job seekers like ours. Because even if we'll be getting A's, if we get A's to give to the people who do not have such kind of creative mind, it'll be just like wasting money into some places which are not even worthy to allocate those kind of resources. So I think it's time now we need to learn the kind of education they're providing and what is wrong with us, really. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I see two hands. There's a student and there's a Dr. Deras. We start with you and then we come to.
Okay, thank you. My name is Musa Kapenda, second year student pursuing BADS. When Dr. Hezron Makundi said that Tanzania as a country have a lot to learn from Korea, there is something comes in my mind. Actually, it's a book by Peter B. Evans, known as Embedded Autonomy, the State and Industrial Transformation. So my contribution, maybe Tanzania has to learn from Korea how to they manage to transform their industry, particularly you know, when Peter B. Evans like this book using the three Asian tigers, Korea, Brazil, and India, and Peter B. Evans regard Korea as a developmental state because of using the two styles, the one called meritocratic recruitment, and also the long-term career rewards. So Tanzania now have to learn from Korea. How do they manage to transform their industrial economy? So Tanzania as a country have to learn from Korea. That's my thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very good from a student. Dr. Gelasi, kindly also welcome to the contribution. And those who are online, we still have the open door for discussion for you. The panelists, discussants, and your excellence ambassadors, at the end or at some point, we will also welcome you to either add some more or intervene based on what is evolving across the discussion that you are having. Thank you. Yes, please.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Makuti. Nice moderation. My name is Dr. Agila Subakura. I come from IDS, a lecturer on governance. First and foremost, I would love to thank the two excellencies, the ambassadors of the ambassador of Korea in Tanzania and the ambassador of Tanzania in Korea for their nice presentation. And I'm so much interested in the bi-relation that exists between the two countries. And I want to thank for what Korea is doing to Tanzania in terms of development. And of course, even the loan that is providing to Tanzania, it has been defined as a soft loan. The loan that is supporting development in different sectors, including energy, infrastructure, water supply, and etc. My interest is this. I want to know why it has been hard for Korea to invest, or maybe Korea businessmen come and invest straightforward in the area of industry. Land is mentioned on the sector of industrial production. What is it prohibiting investors from Korea to come and invest in the industrial sector? And I have seen that it's not like we do not have good purchasing power. It has been made clear that we are even purchasing some industrial product from Korea, including some wagons and locomotive machines and so on, facilitating that we have a very good purchasing power. So if the Korean businessmen will decide to come and invest in this sector, we can still purchase their products. So I want to understand why it has been difficult for these developing countries, including Korea itself, to come and invest in the industrial sector in Africa. Thank you so much.
Okay, specifically manufacturing, that's what we know the Samsungs and the LGs and the Daewoo's and the Kumhos, and I think the many state-of-the-art advanced manufacturing companies, and we really use their products in the market here. So the question from one of the academics here is it possible? Is there a pathway for these manufacturers also to have their base here in Tanzania? Maybe assembly lines or something like that. I think it was audible. So anyone online who would like to intervene on that, but at the same time, I still welcome hands from those who are in the room. You can raise your hand and then contribute. Before we go, I think, I see Dr. Mbirigenda and then Dr. Kirwanga. Karibuni.
Thank you so much, moderator. Mine is not really a contribution, maybe some reflection. And it comes from the two first speakers, the two ambassadors. First from the ambassador of Korea. When we talk about this cooperation between Korea and Africa, the question is, what does Korea offer different from the others? this is important because we have so many other corporations already. So there is no need simply to add cooperation if there is nothing new. There should be something different. And I'm glad that he talked about a partnership. But then these partnerships should be strategic. Now, the question is, the cooperation between Korea and Africa, it is under which strategic partnership? What is it that we really want? Because I hear these buzzwords such as mutual benefit. Yeah, it's really good to hear them, but what does they really mean? Mutual benefit. As Korea benefits in what and Africa benefits in what in that particular relationship? It's very important for this summit to put it very clear that there is something different we are gaining here, which we have not gained before in cooperation with other groups like maybe Europe, EU, or America. We need that to be clear from the very beginning so that each part understands what is going to give and to gain. And from Ambassador Togolani Mavula, he talked about soft loans. I think this is another buzzword, soft loan. How soft is soft loan? And when we talk about we get soft loan, how do we use it? In what? Koika talked about education, and he said they invested in that. And a number of countries that actually made up to come from poverty, such as Indonesia, for example, they invested in education. And they made it clear that each year in their budget, this amount will go to education. However little their budget is, they would say maybe 15% or 30% will go into education. The question is, what are we doing with the soft loans? We simply put it somewhere, maybe buying V8s, or what do we really do with the soft loans? Then the question of trade, he said that trade is low. And that is exactly where we need, because trade is the only part where it can actually lift the poor people out of poverty. So if trade is low, there is a problem with everything we do in partnership or in cooperation with other countries, because that is exactly where we need. But then the question is, how do we prepare our people to trade? We can trade with Korea, and then it is a one-side trade that we are simply bringing in products from Korea to Tanzania. And at the end, Tanzania becomes a market for Korean products. The question is, how are we preparing our own people so that they can also get the opportunity to trade with Korea, so that it becomes partners getting together? And it's not the question of you have a superior member and an inferior member who has to take in everything that is said. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Kiduanga, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So first, I would like just to thank you very much, Dr. Sufyan, for citing the areas and which not just cite. So one of the areas is about research and development. So my question is as follows: how we can just make this research and development just function? Because I remember there are just some agencies like that research. Nowadays, it started a long time ago. Just to advertise research funds and call for research funds and other agencies. So now I would like just Sufyan to tell us how can this activity second so that.
Thank you, Dr. Duanga. So I saw a hand from a student there. I already see Dr. Sinde. I think I will give one preferential hand. Oh, there's another one, but to a female student also. So one should volunteer. Yeah, thank you. And then we will end up go back to the online people for them to intervene or respond to some of the discussions.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. I'm trying to think what we can do in a broader perspective. I'm talking now in terms of the African continent, because we are heading to this particular meeting. So everything that we're doing is the big question now is how can we get out of poverty? Because we need to make it forward. We need to follow this development transition model that Korean has achieved so that we can get to state where they are as an advanced nation. So I'm trying to think now, can we think of having, it's not possible to have a Marshall Plan. We all know about the Marshall Plan where Korean can inject huge amount of funds to act for the African poor. That's not possible. It cannot happen now. It happened in 1945 when the American dish out funds to you to get out of poverty. So the only way we can get out of poverty is preferential trade partnership between Korea and Africa. So I'm trying to think now of what Ambassador Mabura talked about, the economic partnership agreement. We can only benefit if we don't buy. If we move barrier, then we can access the Korean market. But we should not forget about the non-tariff barriers, because there's the biggest impediment in which we cannot access the Korean market. Even if we don't have barriers, what about those barriers that are non-tariff? Because they have very stringent standard to our products. And because of this, we all know about the history of AGOA. AGOA was the American Growth Opportunity for Africa, which was established more than 20 years ago, in which allowed some African countries to trade agricultural products to America. But AGOA failed because, not because of non-tariff, but because of the tariffs. Tariffs were removed, but what remained are the non-tariff barriers. They put stringent requirement for the product that need to be exported to those markets. So, as part of conclusion, what we can benefit is if we can be assisted to refine our products or to develop innovations for our products so they can avoid these non-tariff barriers, which of the transaction costs that involves in doing business with Korea. These are my issues. Great.
Okay, thank you. I think I would wish first, because of the time and other duties for Ambassador Togolani Mabura, to just respond to some of the discussions or add some more from his earlier remarks, and then we will release him to go to other duties, and then we can continue with the hands which we have here. Mheshimiwa Balozi, karibu.
Asante, ninaomba radhi. Nina shughuli nyingine mpaka kwetu kuni jioni na tayari ni muda wa I have another reception. Kama ambavyo nilisema mwanzoni, kuna Korea Importers Association. Sasa wamenialika dina, kwa wanakaribia kuingia. Nikaomba udhuru kwamba nijibu kabisa yale ambayo ninaweza kuyajibu ili niweze kuondoka niache niendelee. Lakini of course pia mtanisamehe sitakuwa kwenye video kwa sababu nipo kwenye gari. Niko njiani naelekea huko. Sasa yamesemwa mambo okay. Oh sorry. Nishanogewa na Kiswahili. So many there are so many
for the interest of those who don't really our fellows, I think we would wish you to switch to English. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. So sorry, I'm about to attend another event, the Koima event, and I'm on the road. So forgive me that I'll have to speak now and then I excuse myself, but also that I will not appear in the video because I'm in the car. I would like to respond to a number of issues being raised, and I think I'll go randomly. In some places I will manage to remember names. In some cases you please excuse me. But there was a lot of concerns regarding the academic Of course, yesterday we met the Minister of Foreign Affairs here in Korea and were briefed about this number of side events that would take place. So there'll be around 12 side events aside from the main summit, where they'll deal with the thematic issues. So education is one of them. We are yet to get the details exactly of invitations, and we'll be there. But the moment we get them, we'll be sharing with the institutions concerned. So University of Dar will be one of them. And maybe to just update you, only a month ago, your DVC research, I think, DVC administration, Professor Killian was here with the team from University of Dar es Salaam for benchmarking study under the project, under the HEAT project that you already have with the World Bank. But we took her to a number of universities here in Korea, and at least for herself, she gauged the readiness of Korean universities to engage and Korean institutions to engage academia in Tanzania in particular for joint research and development activities. In this, I have to say that, of course, with this buzz of the Africa Summit, number of Korean institutions here, especially universities, have also established African centers, including the Yonsei University, which is the second largest here in Korea. SNU, they already have a number are coming in that area. So there's a lot of interest for Korea academic to engage with the African academic. I've been invited in a number of events recently, ever since January, and everywhere I go, the concern has been that they have not engaged Africa enough. So they think it's about time to start engaging in Africa. So there's a lot coming in this area. But of course, even prior to that, I mean, at least in our level of the embassy and so we have done a number of these initiatives, try to engage many university in Tanzania and institutions here, but the challenge has been the response from our side. I reached to some universities where I find there's an MOU existing for the past 5-6 years, and then they'll say, like, Ambassador, you are not new. There's an MOU here between University of Dar es Salaam and our university, but there have been no response. So anyway, I think on our side, we also have to take vigilance. And I think maybe sometimes the problem has been a structure in our universities, because eventually we send it to the administration and maybe doesn't go to schools and I don't know whether it's called faculties or things like that. But of course, in this, I think those institutions or those centers within the universities, those schools that are interested to find their partners in Korea, kindly reach out to embassy. We do that. We have done that with the Nelson Mandela Institute in Arusha, and it's going on so well. And we are ready to do it with University of Islam. So they have been inviting to see if we can have an MOU, an agreement between Tanzania and Korea that can allow come to Korea. That we have interest to pursue, and Ambassador Kim, my counterpart in Dar es Salaam, is very helpful in this regard. So I hope, inshallah, we may reach somewhere there. And then I want to also touch on the, somebody asked about what kind of education that Koreans are giving to their people. And this was one lady. I'll say, I mean, I think Ambassador Kim will speak much more about it, but I will encourage you to go to Zanzibar. There's a project under COICA on the strengthening of secondary education in Zanzibar, and it has done so well so far. It involves some technology inside it, digitalization, but it has improved a lot in terms of the science performance and mathematics. So I think we can go there starting. COICA is already doing it in a small way already in Zanzibar. That's what I know, and. Of course, we can learn a lot more on how they're doing this. I'm sure now that we have come with a new curriculum, I hope the Minister of Education will take it up. But for the education department of the University of Dar es Salaam, education school or department, if has an interest to understand what's happening in Korea, we are more than ready to assist in that one. Somebody talk about Korea being a developmental state. I think Ambassador King will answer that more, but of course, maybe that was the case when in 1970s and 80s, when Korea was rising up, but not necessarily today. Today is large extent is private sector led. This is my observation from the ground, but Ambassador Kim will say more on that one. And then somebody asked about Korea and industrialization in Tanzania.
my take will be what I know is the potential of Korean private sector to spearhead industrialization of another country. And the good example I'll give you is Vietnam. Today, Korea is #1 investor in Vietnam. It contributes around 25% of Vietnam exports and employs around 900,000 personnel. There are around 4,000 Korean companies in Southeast Asia. So we have seen the potential of Korea in Southeast Asia. Yes, Korea had no reason before to come to Africa because the immediate geography, which is culturally there was a culture is culturally closer. It is also geographical closer. It was Asia. So Korea concentrated in Asia for all these years. And Korea today is 12th largest economy in the world. So the question now is Korea has reviewed the strategy. Because of course, definitely Korea doesn't wants to remain in the 12th position, probably wants to become a global economic power. This is what their Indo-Pacific strategy says. They want to become global pivotal state, GPS. So if they are going to become a GPS, so it means they have to expand their horizon. Their trade with African continent is 1%. Their trade with Latin America is 4%. So now they want to come in Africa in a big way. So I think this the way I see after the summit will give a signal for Korean private sector to come to Africa. Now, which African countries will be winners or early winners? That is something that Ambassador Kim may say. But my role is to try as much as possible to position Tanzania as one of those countries to become early benefits. And one of the things that give us optimism in this area is the economic partnership agreement, which I think there's another, sorry, forgot the name, another doctor who was questioning, what is this EPA and what is different? And this is the answer. Korea, to the best of my knowledge, has FTAs, free trade agreements. They have only 21 FTAs with 28 countries. So in many parts of the continent, they engage into FTA in groups like EU as a group, GCC, Gulf countries as a group, ASEAN as a group, CARICOM as a group, and then with very few countries like US, I think Japan or China, which doesn't have bilateral. But for the first time in history, Korea saw the need to have them in Africa as well. And 3 countries because we did not start 3 countries, we started around 6 countries consultation. We ended up into 3 countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and Morocco. That's their thinking to sign EPA. So what's the difference between EPA and the normal other? The idea, at least what I knew from the consultations we had, is they could not sign with us a free trade area for the fear that some here, including Dr. Kidangwa, have expressed concern that with the disparity in capacities, then if you sign an FTA, it will be one-sided. So for the way the Korea view it, and which we think is the best way to go, they said, instead of having only a free trade agreement, where we are very sure that our capacity of production for now may not match with the strength of the trade, strength of the Korean side, let us have an APA so that we can add into it other aspects of investment, of capacity building, to help our economy and the players and participants to build capacity to get access to the market of Korea. So that will reduce a lot of these non-tariff barriers. And Korea have done that before with other countries, including Vietnam. So I think this is what a little bit different. That is not only about access to market, it's about helping build the capacity to access markets so that we can supply, because Koreans are, at least in their mode of trade, the way I've observed, they are much more interested into supply chains which are efficient. So it's helping about building this efficient supply chain that can be able to access Korean market. So this is how I view it in that way. And then, of course, what the question was also whether should we sign this EPA, whether is it same with the other countries, I mean, what's new and what's different, this partnership. And my point will be, first thing that as diplomats, our job is to create possibilities, right? We eventually embassy of Tanzania and Seoul and Togoland will not sell anything. Our job is to create opportunities and possibilities. It is for our private sector to take it over, and the line ministry and sector ministry, and you academicians to help our industries and our people and our policymakers to take advantage of this market. So I would say what we need first, to me, my immediate concern is to have access. Once we have access, the potential, the players and potentials will always be there once we have access. Because for now, I cannot create. It's not easy to encourage anybody to come to trade in Korea or to bring something to Korea where there's no access to it, right? So create access. The access will open up opportunity for both Koreans and Tanzania seed value. You may have Korean companies coming to produce here to sell back to Korea, and then that can work. But you have to have access first. You have to have instruments first on the ground, and this is what we are working on. And then what Korea offers differently. And I said, in terms of ODA, in terms of technical capacity, what I've seen in my experience of working in Korea for the past 2 and 7 months is Korea, unlike many other partners, but at least I've been in this cycle for quite a long time, around 17 years now, foreign affairs. Koreans, first of all, try to work much on the how. They try to give us the how compared to others. So in terms of even if you go to let's say the wagons we have procured or to many other, they will give you a technical expertise, technical capacity building on that. They transfer technology to the large extent, which is something for me, I think it was quite different. That's differentiate them. And many countries, even African countries here, everybody is trying to win Korea because of that, getting the how. They give us the how. That's number one. But number two, of course, Korea is a new OECD member, and that makes Korea unique. I think somebody mentioned this, unique from many other partners that we already have on the ground. I know it's very easy because of their geography, for everybody to try to compare Korea with something else. But from the experience of the ground, Koreans are simply Koreans. They have a different way of operating, different way of viewing things. But at least for now, and for the countries that they've already engaged, you can go do your study, whether it's Vietnam, whether it's now Indonesia, and many other countries that Korea have already been there on the ground. At least the news has been they have been good partners everywhere they go. They are partners that value to the large extent their counterparts that live true to their words, and that at least they don't show up to now. I mean, I have no evidence of having very much ulterior motives, but of course, respecting very much the policy space of the partner countries. You have other partners, we have experience of other partners. You're working Project X, and in the middle, they bring political issues X, Y, and Z. No, at least we don't have this. Once for the things that we work with Korea, for the things that they have committed, they deliver according to the promise. And to me, I think that's what makes Korea distinct and different. I think I've said so much. I'm sure my colleague, counterpart, Ambassador Kim will have more to say. Thank you so much, Kamsami.
Thank you. We appreciate the responses, very insightful and informative. Ambassador Kim is now ready also to intervene. I think time is not very friendly, but we can still, yeah.
Now we can see.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
Well.
Do you hear me?
Yes, yes, Your Excellency. Yes, please continue.
Okay. Somebody asked me about the mutual benefit between Korea and Tanzania, and how can we promote mutual benefit, and how can we bring more Korean company, manufacturing company down to Tanzania. So I think, first of all, let me tell you that in the occasion of Korean African Summit, there will be the two important collateral events. One is the business summit, and the other one is business consultation networking component. President Mama Samia will bring, she will also attend the business summit, but also she will bring many other Tanzanian economic related ministers and also Tanzanian businessmen. And Mama Samia will showcase some of the important Tanzanian products such as coffee, also other agricultural or other products in business summit and business consultation. We are doing also help the Tanzanian businessmen to connect to Korean businessmen and to show them the market in Korean market for Korean Tanzanian product. Know that there are some Tanzanian company which volunteered to go Korea along with the delegation of Tanzania. I heard that coffee farmer exporter will also attend it. So I think this one definitely will promote the Tanzanian product in Korea and definitely promote a mutual benefit on the occasion of Korea Africa Summit. Let me tell you more, little bit more on mutual benefit. But it already started. We are already on the way to mutual benefit. Can you hear me?
Yes, continue.
Okay. As you know, there are several Korean companies in Tanzania. For example, shipbuilding company is here. And also, as you know, green oil, castor oil company is here. There are several other small companies here. And also, it is starting, but as you know, the POSCO International signed a big contract for Mahenge, the graphite mine. So we are very much committed to value addition, environmentally safe value addition manufacturing of graphite in Tanzania. And also, as I mentioned, the SGR, it is a train project. Tanzania already imported Korean locomotive and passenger coach. And the Korean company will come down here to assemble those coaches and locomotive when in due time. So they are preparing, making factory assembling point in here in Tanzania. This is just a beginning. So we are going to grow our mutually beneficial cooperation. And also, let me tell you something. My idea is, how can we connect soft loan EDCF project to Tanzanian industrialization and Tanzanian industry? For example, you can utilize soft loan in the developing Tanzania industry, for example, mining or fishery or manufacturing, and you can call in the Korean company utilizing fully or half partly the EDCF. Somebody asked me how soft is EDCF, soft loan. It is more than 30 years loan. There's no interest rate virtually. So it's very, so, and also not only money, also Korean, the fourth rate company, and also Korean technology also come here along with EDCF. So it's a good aspect. So my idea, my point is, how can we utilize EDCF, not just healthcare, but with the industrialization with Tanzania. And let's go back to the another point, that is the trade between Korea and Tanzania. At the moment, Tanzania export mostly coffee, the mineral, and tobacco leaf. But there's still more room for Tanzania to export more, for example, fishes or other products to Tanzania, to Korea. But I think the Korean Africa Summit will boost the opportunity of Tanzanian product to be sold in Korea. And I know that in Korea Africa Summit, President Samia will showcase the tourism of Tanzania in Korea. So I think that will be very good, because tourism is also very important industry in Tanzania. So it is a very good opportunity to showcase the very attractive tourism in Tanzania. And one thing is that how can you bring more Korean company down here, the manufacturing company down here? I think somebody already told me the example of Korean-Vietnam relation. Korean-Vietnam is geographically much closer than to Tanzania. But nowadays there is shipping, maritime shipping. I think maritime shipping can overcome the hurdle between Korean and Tanzanian investment on the cooperation field. I think one of the way for Tanzania is to make. I ask more Tanzanian people to make this Tanzania more business-friendly environment for foreign investors. That's what I want to say. Already pretty friendly, but if we make always should we make environment for foreign investors, foreign businessmen. I think it's also always important, that point. And also another mutual beneficial aspect is that we are doing many vocational training in Tanzania. So KOICA is planning to build more vocational school, technical school, and also Korean IDS-UDSM is now planning to build a digital institute, the best digital institute in Africa, the best good one in Tanzania. So the kind of vocational institute will train Tanzanian youth to cope with the new industrial age. So when they are ready, after got training on the training center, vocational training center, I think they can provide good skilled labor force to the foreign investor or factory in Tanzania. And also, there's another my personal point indeed. Korea is in the world very top ranking exporting country, but the labor force, skilled labor force, the number of skilled labor force is decreasing. So we have to import more skilled labor force from abroad. So far, we have closed our skilled labor market, closed to other countries other than Southeast Asia. So we are now talking about how can you open skilled labor force market to African country. So this is my personal and the inside reviewing now, this kind of thing. But also in this case, we can use our vocational training center, Korean businessmen, to train Tanzanian youth to be used not only in here, but also can be used abroad, for example, in Korea, if they are ready. Ready, also, and also Korea, Korea manufacturing industry is ready for Tanzanian skill be used. So there's a long way to go to cooperate more for the mutual benefit. Well, I think we have already started the kind of mutually beneficial cooperation. We are moving forward, and already I talk with my government, but also with my friend, Ahmed Togolani. He's working very hard to realize mutual benefit between our two countries. Thank you.
Ambassador Kim, we thank you very much for the remarks, responses to some of the questions, but also adding up to what you have said earlier. But most importantly, we also thank you for the service which you are providing to support our country in the development process. So for the sake of time, I think now we will allow, if there are some of those who are online from Kofi, Inca, EDCF, to add something, or even DPSF, and also Dr. Sufyan, who is here. And then in the end, I will invite Dr. Msoka just to say some word of thanks to conclude our session. So anyone online among the panelists to add or respond? Just quickly for a minute before we can close. I think we are close to our time to wind up the discussion today. Maybe Dr. Sufyan will then intervene while those who are online.
Okay, thank you very much for the position again. There was one question, I mean, not a question actually, but was a contribution raised by Dr. Unfortunately in his house. Yes, but he was asking about the readiness and the research and development, what can be done. Yes, I think everyone can recall the example of the University of Dar es Salaam. They've been for a long time major players or donors in terms of research from Sweden, from Denmark, the very famous Sarek and Dalida and many other big donors of research. Korea recently, there are few of them. Of course, we have been trying to grasp the opportunity. Like the major one we've been benefited with is called the AKS, which is Academy of Korean Studies. Actually, they supported us for 3 years. And also, there is Korea Foundation. They are also supporting us. Sometimes, last 2 years, they even send a lot of books to us. So there are a few organizations which are engaged in research directly, and we have to apply. It's in terms of competition, so you have to apply, and if you win, then you take the chance. So not very much strong like Danida or Sarek, but there are a few organizations still providing chance for research and development. I think that's all.
Thank you, Dr. Sufyan. So Kofi, Koika, EDCF, and TPSF, any one of you with some few final concluding remarks for a minute before we wind up, please? I see Kofi ready. Karibu, welcome.
Hello. If I may, can I add a brief comment?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. My name. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So I'll be really quick and brief. So as His Excellency Mr. Kim Sun-pyo has already explained in detail, but I just wanted to add something about our EDCF loan. So I just wanted to emphasize the mutual benefit has already been started. As I heard as someone, the participant in this meeting, he pointed out that how soft the EDCF loan is, and he also emphasized the point that EDCF should focus more on trade and investment. However, I just wanted to point out that our mutual benefit has already been started, And by supporting loans in education and infrastructure, mostly in energy parts, we firmly believe that our projects can indirectly has a positive effect in boosting the trade and investment of Tanzania. So I just wanted to point out that mutual benefit has been already ongoing and will be in the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Koika or Coffee, anything? Okay, so I think, yeah, I see. Yeah, Karim.
Yeah, I will give this a short, brief, comments. So thank you very much for having me today, and especially if, I really appreciate His Excellency, the Ambassador Dr. Sampyo Kim and Ambassador Togolani Mavura. And by this chance, I think we should tighten up the health sector, cooperation, especially. We think that we should focus on the people who are marginalized, who are left in the system. So most people in urban areas and most people in rural areas, and so we should focus, we should purposefully focus on those, social classes in order to achieve the universal health coverage and the more equitable health system, and etc. So that's the way of we are working together with the Tanzanian government and health authorities, and that's the right way. So one of our motto is that we should do the right thing in the right way. So that's the we are we can be a prosperity ways for mutual interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Koika, are you there? Madam from Koika. Connection problem. So ladies and gentlemen, maybe we just clap for the panelists and those who reflect. Most importantly, applaud for the two ambassadors for their leadership in this discussion. I now hand it over to Dr. Coleman Nsoka, Director of IDS and the team leader for this organization of these events, and to do the board of things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you, Your Excellency, the ambassadors and heads of the institutions who are online, and also those of you who are sitting here. We're going to split this time between me and Dr. Sufyan. So allow me to invite Dr. Sufyan to do the first part. Sufyan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nsoka. Quickly, first of all, we thank His Excellency Ambassador Kim, actually, for his time. He has been very, very cooperative and very easy to reach every time we need to cooperate. And I think our friendship has been so close because of his attitude and also the welcoming habit he has. So thank you very much, Ambassador Kim. And also thanks to Ambassador Togolani Mavura, I think he's representing our country very well in Korea. Thanks for your initiatives. We have seen a lot of movements regarding the cooperation between Korea and Tanzania. And also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Dodoma has been, sometimes back has been difficult to reach them, but nowadays it's very easy to reach the ministry, and thanks for your cooperation too. And also I thank the IDS team and the university at large in the Korean Studies Center and students from IDS and the staffs from IDS for every time thinking and organizing something to do with development. And many people, they can be asking about why are we discussing about Korea and some sort of those questions, but actually today we have seen it ourselves that there's an opportunity, and also it has opened up our eyes and have also brought about a lot of ideas to think before the coming summit. And lastly, I thank all of those who participated from abroad. especially in Finland, in Korea, in other countries, and also here in Dar es Salaam. Some people have reached us congratulating for this event. So thank you for everyone. Thank you for everything. So I think you can finish the rest.
Thank you very much. My portion is pretty small. People say very, very small, pretty small. That's the event is now concluded. Thank you.